With 2 rounds to go, Grant Riddall is the 1980 Procar champion. But will these 2 races provide an opportunity for David Jakes to exact some kind of revenge? Oh, and don't forget Tiago Canola. Good evening, I'm Jason White. Welcome to round 8 of the HSO Procar series. This one from Hockenheim Ring, and this is take 2 for the Hockenheim Ring after we had an issue earlier in the series. So we are hoping for a clean and well-run race this evening. Server issues last time, hopefully not this time. And I'm joined in the booth by Alberto Baños. Alberto, good evening.
Good evening, everybody from Hockenheim.
So, no surprise to anybody, but looking at the point standings, Grant Riddall is the champion with 132 points. Tiago is second with 69. So the race is really for second place at this point between Tiago and David Jakes, and I would like to think that probably both of these gentlemen are thinking the championship may have slipped away, but there's a chance here that they can, close out the year with a win, make things seem a little less, a little sweeter maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, here are my case for today's race. So first of all, as you rightfully said, this is a race for second somehow because Grant Riddall is, or seems to be, so superior to everybody. So who's going to be the challenger for the second place or for the first if Grant somehow makes any kind of error now that he is very relaxed? We have today Martin Lacina here, and this is one of the keys of the race because this is a very high-speed track where braking is absolutely paramount. Braking before the chicanes, there's a lot that you can gain there, and we know Martin Lacina is one of the late breakers in this league. One of the guys who has the best, probably some of the best abilities here when it comes to braking. So he's a guy to watch here. The second thing that you should watch out is that this is a high-speed track, as I said, so the angle of the rear wing is very important here. Those who have set up the car to have more stability on the rear with a higher wing, they will be paying a price for that in the straights. So who's going to go with the risk of having a more unstable car but quicker one? That's the thing you all should watch. We don't need to see here or to watch here for the tire degradation, I think, because this is not a track where we will be constantly cornering. There are a lot of straights, but, and this is the third K, people will be gambling here with the grill tape. They will try to go quicker by taping the radiator, by letting less air flow through it, and therefore getting a more aerodynamic car. But there's a price to pay for that, and that's engine heating. So we'll see how many engines last the whole race for the people who are able to go really quick on the straights. So these are your case for today's race, Jason.
Very well put together and expertly described, as always, Alberto. So the cars are now on their warm-up laps. Let's see if we can find somebody who is starting a lap. Let's scroll through here until we find someone in the stadium.
Brian Janik, maybe? He's now through turn 1, right of the straight.
I'm trying to find somebody who's heading towards the stadium. Gabriel Sturr is heading towards the stadium. We'll start with him. So we'll have a little bit of a situation where we're seeing the end of a lap. Gabriel Sturr is a guy that we haven't seen a lot of this year at HSO, but he's had some good drives in the past. Hopefully, he'll be able to spend more time with us in the second half of this year.
Yeah, there's Brian Janik also in the stadium section right now. One of the BS fabrication cars. That's right. Nelson Piquet's car.
Okay, so...
And he's about to start the lap right now.
Here comes Gabriel Sturr out of the... Oh, of course, yeah, he goes into the pits. Actually, I've got...
So that's Brian Janik now in turn 1.
Are you sure you're not looking at a replay?
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's what I figured, because
Sojan team, for example, is right now behind Francois Remen in the stadium section.
All right, here comes John Team.
So Francois Remen making way for him.
He's starting the lap now, so John Team heads into the first turn here. Gets a little bit sideways and onto the curb, but that's turn one. Now the long drag down the straightaway, which curves just a little bit before you get to the chicane. You can see the signs coming up on the left here. He's going to brake between the 200 and 100 markers. Right, left, and now getting on the throttle coming out of that corner. And now there's this long, sweeping, quasi-straight down to the Ost curve. And this is prior to the chicane that was installed, I believe, in 1981 or 2.
Yeah, I think so. This is the place, I think, where poor Jim Clark actually passed away in an accident.
And Patrick Depaille as well.
Yeah.
Exiting the Ost curve at a very high rate of speed, accelerating down this short straight towards the second chicane. And this one is a left-right combination as opposed to a right-left. Downshifting at the 100. This is a faster chicane than the first one. Look at John using every inch of the track and then some. And now you accelerate down this straight, similar in length to the previous one. And this one takes you into the stadium section. I'm watching for John here to probably fade to the left a bit. Yeah, he's going into that little area there on the left-hand side using as much of the track as possible. Bouncing off the curbs a little bit onto the grass there. Now we're into the stadium section. And this is where you can have a bit of fun with the car, because if you have it set up for low downforce, it slides. And you're able to get through here reasonably quick because you're helped by a bit of the banking that's there in these turns. And two very quick left-right-handers here. And back onto the pit straight, and that is one lap of Hockenheim. And in comes John. He's not going to stay out for one more lap.
Yeah, this is the very classic Hockenheim that everybody remembers. I mean, it was progressively slowed down thanks to the additional chicanes. But this was a very quick track already from the beginning. It was conceived as such, and well, I believe most of, if not all of the German tracks were actually conceived like that. This is a track in the forest of the Baden-Württemberg state, with all those big trees on the side that makes it so dangerous, as was usual here. And it was, well, thought of as a place where the German engines could show up the superiority, thanks to those big straights and all the power that they got.
And here's Dave Miller. Actually, we have only 27 seconds left in this session, so we're going to be going to the race quickly. Before we have a chance to, before we go to the race session, I'd like to point out a couple things. One is that next week, it's a big week at HSO. The Indianapolis 500 time trials. We'll be carrying these live on our YouTube channel. Delta Force intro, lots of historical tidbits, and everybody guaranteed 5 minutes of TV time. It's one event during the year that we look forward to a lot, and the only one that might eclipse that one would be the event following week, and that's the Indianapolis 500 itself, Sunday, May 19th. So we'll be doing the qualifications on the 12th and the race on May 19th.
Something really to follow, because so far we have already 37 cars that are scheduled for qualification. Some very interesting cars, I mean, from V6 to V8s to big blocks to the normal turbocharged engines. So it's going to be really fun watching all of them. And of course, with the tension of the bumping. But the tension is now at the Hockenheim track. So we're going now to the race. 22 laps here for the Procar in just 40 seconds.
Grant Riddall has the pole. Not that that's going to surprise anybody. But This is definitely going to be a slipstreaming battle, and the last time we had slipstreaming battles, it was Avas, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens
Let's
in this
hope
race.
we don't. Let's hope we don't have as much carnage as we have now. So
we have Jonathan Asserclinth via the car radio. Jonathan, thank you for joining us.
Indeed, a driving broadcaster in a track that he really hates, but in any case...
Well, good luck to you today, Jonathan. 22 laps.
In any case, quite enthused to be here, so...
All right, so we're going off in the parade lap. On the pole, we have Grant Riddall in the Project 4 entry. He's the champion of this series with 2 races still to go. Second, Tiago Canola, B&S Fabrications. Third, Martin Lacina, Marco Rensport. Fourth, John Team in the Merzario team entry. Fifth, Brian Janik from Detroit, B&S Fabrications. Sixth, Gabriel Sturr, Jurgensen and Sun Racing. Seventh, Steve Parker, Kanacher GT. Eighth, David Jakes, Manfred Cassani Racing. Ninth, David Yunt, Scuderia Basilia Racing. 10th, Little Al, Alberto Aquino, Team Schnitzer. See how your son does today, Alberto. 11th,
Hopefully
Dave Miller, Sauber Racing Switzerland. Hello, Mrs. Dave. 12th, we have Ray Riddall in the GS Tuning entry, the first of the GS Tuning cars. 13th, Juha Boss, Sauber Racing Switzerland. 4th, Lucas Vidra, Merzario team. 15th, David Saber in the other GS Tuning entry. 16th, Mick Chapman in Team Schnitzer entry. 17th, Francois Remen, Olimpo Motorsport. 18th, Gerard Rion in the GS Tuning car sponsored by BASF. 19th, Bruno Chacon, Scuderia Basilia. 20th, Jonathan Asserclinth, Johnny Aces, BMW Australia. 21st, Michael Griffiths, another B&S Fabrications entry. 22nd, Timo Vermeers in the Zoll Auto BMW entry. And that is your grid, 22 cars, that's it.
It's very similar actually to what we had in the real race. Though I should say that, well, not in 1980, but in 1979, there was a big mess up here after the first turn in the main street. Interestingly, in the main street, where people were actually 3 wide and trying to jockey for position, and, well, everything ended up in tears. Let's hope that's not the case here today. Well, for sure, if they bend some metal, it won't be that expensive as it was back then.
Well, I'm going to be really curious to see not only what Jakes and Lacina can do and Tiago, but also what Little Al's going to be able to do in this race. This is, I think, the farthest up the grid he's qualified.
Yeah, he's improving steadily. I mean, he's very young. He just turned 14 yesterday. And, well, obviously, I mean, he has his studies, he has to do his homework and all that, so he has not as much time for practicing and racing as he would wish, but he's steadily improving. I mean, he's no Grant Riddle, I can tell you, but he's certainly much better than his father.
Well, he's got a good tutor, I think. Okay, cars are now coming onto the grid.
An enthusiast one.
So you can see Grant moving back and forth there. He's trying to get the
hitting the tires
warmed up.
as if he needed that, but yeah. So let's see. Watch out for Tiago Canola when it comes to the braking. It's going to be interesting. Very tense moments now. Everybody lining up. First turn shouldn't be too problematic, but watch out for the chicane.
All right, so everybody stand by. And the race is underway! Grant Riddall gets away well. Tiago Canola tucks in behind him as they head for the first turn. Grant Riddall leads. Tiago Canola second. Martin Lacina appears to be third already. Here they come down the long straight. We've got 2 cars off the track in the background, but looks like they'll be able to rejoin. It's very easy to be enthusiastic on that first turn. Look at Tiago. He's tucked right behind Grant, and it looks like he's going to make a bid. He's on the outside now going into the first chicane. Is he going to try to pass on the outside? No, it's not going to work there. Although,
whoa, too wide
now he's on the, oh goodness, almost.
Not that he's going to impress very much Grant Riddall, who was able to keep the nose ahead.
I doubt, it's not going to impress him.
Some car there sideways on the rear. What's
we got
that,
one
David
car
Yunt?
sideways. It's David Yunt. David Yunt has had an issue. Let's have a look at a replay of this. This is the replay. He comes to the inside. Oh, it looks like he has a bit of contact there with Steve Parker. And as they exit the turn, this is where it happens. Oh, yes, more contact with Steve. And my goodness.
And another car now out in the straight. Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
David Jakes with Steve Parker again. What happened today with Steve Parker?
It's David Jakes.
Listen.
What happened there? He was exiting the Ost curve. Let's have a look from an onboard view.
Oh, Jesus! And now they hit both Steve Parker and... Oh, my goodness! What a melee. They're in the back. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, goodness! Oh,
whoa,
man.
This is the biggest... I mean, it's the broadcaster's curse. I'm sorry for that, guys, but... Well, just mentioning it, and then we got it triggered.
Well...
My goodness, it's like it happened in the real race. They're in the middle of the straight. How did that happen?
Well, you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the incident that Coxon had with, I believe it was Grant, in the finale of the F171 series. All right, so here we go. John Team is in second now. And Canola is tucked up right behind John Team, going for second place as they come down to the first chicane. And there's also side-by-side cars just behind these two. It looks like Tiago's going through, and he does. Tiago goes up to second place. Team drops to third. Brian Janik is fourth.
Yeah, Team saw that
fifth,
coming, and he maneuvered very well.
Now riding on board with John Team's car. And you can see how close he is to Tiago. Grant is already starting to streak away, so if these two fight anymore, it could give Grant a lead that could be insurmountable. That's the real problem here, is do you want to battle for position, or do you want to work together to stay in contact with Grant? The red mist may determine which these gentlemen want to do. Into the second chicane now.
Yeah, because with this car, with this track, the slipstream is very important. So even if Grant is getting away, apparently, if they work together in the straights, it could be benefiting a lot from the slipstream. I mean, what Grant is managing to get with his driving prowess in the corners, they could certainly get back in the straights thanks to the slipstream if they work together. But the thing is, they don't seem to be content with doing that. They are fighting with each other.
Very, very close now between Brian Janik and Martin Lucena. Janik tried to overtake John Team for third place, but it didn't quite work. But these three, you could throw a blanket over them, coming out of the stadium section onto the pit straight. And they're going to be heading for the first turn. And you can see locking up already occurring. Oh my goodness, John Team all over the place exiting turn number one, but it looks like Brian Janik has got the measure on him. It's just a matter of getting alongside. You see he's got a really good roll already. There he goes for the outside. Team gives him the room. Side by side, and here comes Lucena, hoping to go along with him in the slipstream. Textbook slipstream overtake by Brian Janik. He goes up to third place, driving Nelson Piquet's Procar. You can tell it's Piquet's because he has the blood drop helmet design. So we'll see if John Team can counterattack here. He's still in the slipstream. The problem, though, is he has to keep in mind that he's got Lucena right behind him. So he's stuck between Brian. Oh, Brian gets a bit loose there, so maybe John will have a chance to counterattack here. Yeah, he's tucked right up behind Brian Janik now. And he does have a roll on him, so here we go. Continued slipstreaming battles. He's on the inside, going into the second chicane. Oh, he shuts off way before Brian Janik. Oh, Janik gets all over the place, loses momentum. Here's another chance for John Team. Coming towards the stadium. side by side. Man, this is exciting stuff. But
yeah, if you lose the acceleration out of the corner, then you're dead on the straight.
And John
That's
Team
what
goes
happened
back
here
to third
Brian.
place. Fantastic racing here, of course. Oh goodness, looks like Lucina's on the inside of David Yunt. I'm sorry, not David Yunt. Brian Janik, and takes the position back. But now those two are almost side by side again. My goodness. So
Yeah,
Janik's-
Lasinas was there waiting very patiently to see what happened, and when he saw the opportunity, he went for it. But in the end, Brian Janik recovered the position.
Heading once again into the turn. This is the start of lap 4 out of 22. Remember, this is a long circuit. And it looks like this battle might be broken off for a little bit because there's a decent cushion between these two. Looking further down the field.
Well, the biggest cushion here is the one that Grant Riddle is already working out. And we should start thinking about giving him some kind of wet ballast penalty, because otherwise it's going to be a serious boring as hell for him.
Meanwhile, Dave Miller is following Juha Boss into the first chicane. This is a battle for 10th place. But right ahead, Juha is very close to...
Lucas Vidra.
Lucas Vidra, thank you. And he's on the inside here, heading into the Ost curve. The view from inside the car, Juha right alongside him, has the line, goes into the Ost curve. Let's see if he can keep it going outside. Lucas is looking up the inside on the exit of the Ost curve. Let's see if... no, he's got a bit of a roll. He might be able to get the position back. Lucas Vidra, again, really enjoys driving these cars. And here he is. He's coming to the inside. Oh, but he just doesn't have the room to outbrake Juha into the second chicane. Yeah, the battle between Canola and... well, Canola seems to be like that he might be catching Grant here a little bit. Well... maybe it's just wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah, it's just because Grant isn't willing to really wear his car out, so he's just playing a bit of the rubber band effect with Canola. Whoa! Whoa! Look at that! Again, the broadcaster's course. That's Grant Riddle on the grass. Canola went out.
It appears that Jonathan Asserclinth is out of the race.
And look at that, Grant Riddle. He spun in the grass and he has lost 3 positions.
Oh my
so
goodness.
Thiago Canola is now the leader.
Here's the replay.
No, 5 positions. That's
Grant
Martin
Riddle.
Lasina in front of him.
This is the replay. Grant Riddle goes into the turn, misjudges it, runs onto the grass, and it looks like he clipped... oh my goodness, he spun out. And he might have gotten... He
all
might
by
have
himself.
He might have gotten
I guess
tagged there by
it's the broadcaster's course. I'm not going to mention him anymore. Because anytime we mention someone, there you go.
Well, he might have gotten tagged there by Thiago Canola as he went by, too. So I don't know if he's running with any kind of aerodynamic damage. In most cases, it wouldn't matter on a track like with these cars, but on a track like this, where aerodynamics are everything, it's going to be a problem. So here we are inside of Grant's car. He is now demoted to 5th place, but he's right with Lasina. So we suddenly have what would be a foregone conclusion is now something much more interesting. Oh! Lasina went tucked back in, and Grant wasn't quite expecting that. They go into the second chicane now.
Yeah, Lasina might not be quicker on a hot lap, but I can tell you he's not exactly the kind of guy that is easy to overtake.
Well,
So
the
let's
thing
see.
is, both Lasina and Grant pop out. I wouldn't want to be in John Team's position here because he's got 2 cars climbing all over him trying to get by. Oh, here comes Grant now. He's got a roll. He's going to look up the inside probably here. No, there's not enough room.
Now the thing is, you can't really pass in the stadium section unless a driver makes a mistake, so you have to do it in the chicanes.
All right, coming out of the last corner here. I think Grant's probably going to be a bit more gingerly exiting here. But now he's got an excellent opportunity to get by Martin Lucena here, but he backs out of it. Decides that's not the right thing to do or not the right place. Exits. Oh, now he's got an excellent opportunity here. He's got a roll on Lucena. Comes out to the inside.
Yeah, but as soon as he comes out of the slipstream, it takes so long to...
And he's right alongside Lucena now. Oh, Lucena's gonna fight him for it. No, he got by. Yeah, Lucena's still looking at him. He's like, I don't want to let you go, man. Yeah, watch out. Here he comes. Here he comes. He's taking a defensive line. Yep, there he goes. Dave Miller gets by Lucas Vidra, but Lucas is not going to take this line down. Tucked up right behind Dave Miller. Looking on the inside. He does. Oh, shoot. Watch out, guys. Oh, here comes... Yeah, Dave's looking for it. So Grant has made it by Martin Lucena. He's now in 4th place and setting his sights on John Team, who's directly ahead of him.
I mean, it's a short race.
We've just been alerted that the audio had cut out, and I've found the reason why it was. Thank you very much for alerting us of that on YouTube. Oh, here comes Grant. He's got a really, really good run coming now. And he's going to slip by into 3rd place. And look at how much he's got just the pull on Janik, and he was way ahead of him on that straight.
That's the double drop for you.
So, there he goes. Grant passes Brian Janik. Well, Bryant obviously saw that coming. His biggest worry is actually...
there he goes back by again.
Yeah, but his biggest worry is actually defending from jump team. I mean,
when he missed
everybody knows there that Grant is quicker than them. He will find his way past sooner than later. But the thing is that the two of them, John Team and Brian Janik, they have a fight of their own. So what they really don't want is that Grant's overtaking interferes with that.
Oh, he's looking on the inside now. Oh!
Being way too optimistic and greedy with the throttle.
Here they come. Oh, man, yeah. See, that's only going to get worse the later we go into the race. People coming off that turn, they're not going to want to... Here he comes, looking for 2nd place now. Into the first chicane. Oh, he actually... he got by. That's amazing. He had the time to tuck back in.
What a way of locking brakes, John Team and Martin Lucena. They will be looking at squared tires.
Well,
they really had a big trail of smoke there going into the chicane. So Brian Janik has now the slipstream from Grant. You can see how he moved away from John Tim, and I think that's what he really wants. I mean, see if Grant can tow him away from the pack, because that would give him a very much welcome break from being chased by Tim and Lassina.
Janik is, I think, being very bright here. He's just staying in contact with Grant, not trying any overtakes, because he realizes if they have any hope of catching Tiago, his best bet is to hook up with Grant and just ride him to the front.
There goes John Tim. Yeah, that's exactly, I think, what Brian Janik was seeing coming.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I was thinking that he was being cautious, but what was actually going on is he was looking in his rearview mirror. John Team following Brian Janik now. Coming out of the stadium section. We'll see if the entry into turn one is getting any worse for these guys. I'm guessing it will. The farther the race goes along.
It probably does, but the way
they seem pretty...
the point to watch out here is for those who have already had some lockups, the braking into the chicane. If you have already some flat spots, then it's going to be really messy here. You're going to see lots of smoke from the wheels easily locking up, much easier than on the first laps.
Man. Team had an incredible run on Janik coming to the first chicane, but Brian just placed his car in the right spot to not allow him any room to get by. Very defensive driving from Brian, but I wouldn't call it a block. It was just a simple matter of him placing his car just ever so slightly to the left, and there just wasn't enough room to get by. This is one track that you definitely do not want to get on the grass at these speeds.
No, I think that's what has caused the previous accidents that we have seen, that people are not really aware that the track is bending, and they are at high speed behind another car, maybe even 3 wide, and as soon as you put the wheel on the grass, it can easily spin you out. Whoa, Brian Janik there. He lost it, and there goes his position.
Yep. And he's going backwards. It's amazing how much momentum you lose if you get an exit of one of these chicanes wrong.
Yeah, I mean, don't pay attention to the visual distance, because the cars go so quick, except in the stadium section, that any small error, anything, it's only actually 100 or 200 of a seconds apart. So you can easily lose the position to someone who was visually like, 100 or 200 meters behind you.
So we're coming up now, starting lap number 10. So in another lap, we will be at the halfway point. So just to recap where we are in the race right now, Tiago Canola is leading the race. 10 seconds back is Grant Riddall in second place after his incident. Third is John Team. Fourth, Brian Janik. Fifth is Martin Lassina, and he's getting very close to Janik now. Might be thinking about trying another overtake. Sixth is Gabriel Sturr. Good drive for him so far. Seventh, Ray Riddall. Eighth, David Saber. Ninth, Juha Boss. And in 10th place, another good drive for Lucas Vidra. 11th is Dave Miller. 12th, Alberto Aquino. 13th, Gerard Rion. 14th, Timo Vermeersch. 15th, David Yunt. So he's really down the field after his first lap incident. 16th is Michael Griffiths. 17th, Bruno Chacon. 18th is Mick Chapman. 19th, and out of the race is Jonathan Esserclinth. Steve Parker also DNF'd in 20th. And David Jakes, I guess, decided no point in continuing the race because he was so far behind at that point. And I can't say that I blame him. Francois Remin also is out. He was the first retirement, actually. But I can't say that I blame Jakes for calling it a day, because if you get left behind by the...
Whoa, David Saber just got into the grass. He hit the barrier even.
Oh, no!
He's going back to track now. Hopefully his car is not damaged. He lost the position to Juha Boss.
Here's the replay.
And now there's Luca Vidra coming very close there and with a run, so he likely does also that position.
Let's see what happens here. I'm watching the replay. There's a bit of a ping issue here, so we can't be certain that we're going to see... Oh, he braked too late for the Ost curve, it appears. Went through the barriers, went off, went through the chain link barriers and bounced off the guardrail. So, yeah, that's definitely going to...
Jan team is off.
Is he?
Yeah, he just went off in the stadium section.
Yeah, he lost
goodness.
some time, but he's back on track.
Here's the replay from John Team's car.
Yeah, Lacina is now
He's got
in
Lacina
front
on the
of
outside.
Janik also. Lacina is now third.
Yeah, Lacina's all the way up to fourth. Oh, it looks like he might have gotten hit from behind there. I'm going to run it back and look at it from a different view. All right, so here we are. Janik is behind Team coming into the stadium section. And here's the replay. Yes, there was slight contact between Team and Brian Janik, and that's what led to John running off the track. I don't think it was a situation of Brian braking too late. It was like more of a side swipe hit or something. John actually moved to the inside a little bit early, and that was where the contact occurred. So, but the good news is he's back on track. Now Janik is closing in on Lacina. Lacina currently running in third place. And Grant has cut the lead to well, it's back to 10 seconds now. So it's doubtful that he's going to be able to chase down Thiago Canola in the next 10 laps, but it'll be interesting to see if he can. He's got no slipstream benefit, and but then again, neither does Thiago. So it'll just be a straight up battle to see who, maybe one or both of them can pick up.
Whoa, you have also spun in the chicane.
Oh no! Yes,
Getting
there it is.
back to track now. Fortunately, he didn't hit anything, but David Saber is coming up very quick and
Saber
gets his
Saber's
position
going to
back.
go right by. Yep, Saber goes by easily into 8th place.
Whoa!
But goodness,
Look at
no!
that.
Saber just ran off the track into the. What happened there? What's he doing? Oh, and he hits the tire barrier.
I think that's a case of flat spots, very square tires, and he went with big understeer straight out.
That's too bad. Meanwhile, Janik is trying to close in on Lacina for third place. He may be able to sniff the slipstream here, but he's probably not. He's going to have to rely on Lacina to make some kind of a chicane exit error to get closer. But he is closing. Maybe he's running a lower wing than Lacina.
Yeah, it's also the slipstream effect. But the cars are really getting wild now with the tire degradation. It's, like I said, not probably going to be a huge factor here, but, well, it's certainly going to be noticeable. But what's going to be more noticeable, we have already seen that with David Saber, is the flat spots. I mean, those people who have been locking the wheels heavily, they will now have square tires, and that's going to trigger more lockups and, well, instability in the car. So watch out for that. When you see someone smoking before the corners, you see that his car is...
Oh man, he's closing fast, but he has to get in the binders because they come up to the second chicane. We'll see how Lacina's exit is here. Lacina has a pretty good exit, so I think Janik's going to have to wait another few laps before he can strike. But this is definitely the battle to watch, I think, on the track between these two. Team is solidly in 5th place. And he's got a good distance between himself and Gabriel Sturr. Then Ray Radal following this group. The sole denim car left after the exit of David Saber. Looks like Juha has solidified his 8th place. 9th is David Miller, and 10th is... little Al is back up to 10th now.
Yeah, it seems as Luca Vidra had some kind of out-track excursion, and he lost his position to Dave Miller and Alberto.
Well, I mean, this is going to be good for a little Al because is he aware that 10th is the last points-paying position?
Yeah, I think so. He's been
Okay.
eyeing it all weekend.
Well, there you go. He could score his first HSO point tonight. That would be a fantastic accomplishment for the youngster from Valencia, Spain. Coming out of the last turn. He's not in contact with anybody right now, but I think...
Look at Yannick now.
Oh!
Not this time, Brian.
Not this
but
time.
He's letting Martin know that he's there.
He is all the time making sure that Martin knows he's there. Oh, he's got a roll on him, too. Coming to the Oscar. Lucina's going to have an excellent exit here.
This is one of those situations that is so frustrating because you have a car in front, and thanks to the slipstream, you're getting ever so close, and they're in the straight. Not because you're actually quicker, but because of the slipstream. But then the turn comes too early. Yeah, that's exactly the case. I mean, it's too early to come to the turn. I mean, this is not the Evus. This is long, but sadly for many, not long enough to allow you to really pull out the move. The braking zones come always too early for everybody, and well, when you have Martin Lucina in front, then obviously too much, because he's going to throw the anchor the latest of everybody. But pushing him like that might pay some dividends, because at some point Martin might have an error and then allow Brian to slip by. And then it would be the opposite situation for Martin. Brian is not going to be the easiest to pass either.
Exiting the stadium now into the main straightaway.
Notice that David Junt must be in the pits with some pretty hefty repairs. He's been there for the past 2 times these guys has gone past.
And Bruno Chacon just passed Mick Chapman. Car 61 and 62. Now in the proper numbering order.
Yeah, it's true. David Yunt is in the pits. Thanks for that heads up, Jonathan.
Yeah, he had been running too slow, considering...
Oh, Janik runs off the track. He's trying desperately to try to stay in contact with Lucina, maybe a bit too hard.
And Miller seems to have passed Juha Boss, probably due to an error, because Little Al is also right behind Juha Boss right now. So he seems to have lost some ground there.
Let's give Little Al some TV time here. Coming into the first chicane. He's catching Juha. Juha's fighting that car. He's probably got square tires by now.
Yeah, you can tell that by the lockup in the brakes. That smoke trail is very telling. But not that Little Al can be really comfortable, because Luca Vidra is coming from behind, trying to get back his position. Coming very quick from behind, catching up with those two.
Reminding you of the car specs here, these are inline sixes.
The best sounding inline six ever.
Oh, Juha's, he's definitely having issues getting out of these chicanes. And yes, Alberto's going to be looking in his mirror, making sure that while he's trying to drive and get past Juha, that he doesn't forget what's behind him. I'm simulating him looking in his mirror right now, using the crane cam. Oh, but he's right with him now.
Yeah, Lucas has been driving half a second to a full second quicker than Little Al. That's also maybe because Little Al is a bit stuck behind Juha Boss, who seems to be fighting a damaged car, because his lap times are incredibly slow for the pace that he normally has. I mean,
And
there. Yep.
So, Brian Janik has just overtaken Martin Lucena. Here's a replay. He did it on the long straight after the first corner. Just slipped by, similar to a previous overtake he did. So Brian Janik up to third place now.
Yeah, but not that he can be really comfortable with that, because one thing is overtaking and the other is shaking off the Martin Lucena. So
Yeah,
he's
Lucena-
going to have a hell of a race in these last 7 laps.
Yeah, well, Lucena's staying right with him now, so you're right. This is by no means over. His mirrors right now are essentially one big Marlboro commercial. And here they come into the stadium, and it looks like Lucena's going to have an opportunity. He pops out, looks for
There
the
you
inside
go.
line, and he's got it. Lucena, oh, a little bit of a love tap there from Janik. as
Yeah,
they
Brian
headed-
wanted to duck right behind so as not to lose ground, but that was a bit too early. Fortunately,
Yeah,
it
just
didn't
a-
cause
just
any
a
more
shade.
problems.
A little bit of fiberglass work for the Marlboro guys after this race.
Very frustrating for Brian Janik here, because Lucena overhauled him right before the finish line, and that's one of the things when you're racing in the car here. That's one of the things that is, well, quite demoralizing for you, because there are many cases when you are at the same speed as another guy on the track and you are passing him at one spot and he's passing you in a different one. But when he's the guy who is in front, right when you go through the finish line,
Little Al's right with Juha now. He's got an excellent chance to possibly get by because Juha's definitely not happy in these slow parts of the track. Anytime he has to slow down, the car is really skittish for him. So we might see. He runs off the track again. Little Al, he can smell or taste the blood in the water now, I think, as they come into the first turn. He's already got 10th place. Could he get more points this evening? We'll see. He's right tucked up, well, not quite tucked up behind him, but we'll see if he can get a bit more, he's definitely got a bit of a roll on Juha. He's looking up the inside. He's kind of popping out a bit early. And he shuts off a little earlier than Juha. So he's going to stay behind him. But, Juha runs on the grass. Car's all squirrely, so here comes another shot for Alberto. And he's definitely got to run now. If I were him, I would stay in Juha's slipstream a little longer than he is.
yeah, he went out too early, but
He's done. It's the second time. If I were him, I would be staying in there a little bit more.
well, that's a way of gaining some experience.
True. Meanwhile, Gabriel Sturr running very close to John.
Yeah, that's
Team.
the effect of putting some pressure on someone. Stur is putting it on John Team, and John, well, just slid out of the track and almost lost the possession there.
Janik has fallen back a bit from Martin Lucena, so we'll have to see if he's able to get that back in there. You can see how much Gabriel's car is sliding there. Dave Miller soldiering on in 8th place. See if Alberto's lost a little bit of ground to Juha now. Oh, but look at this. Gabriel looks like he's going to make an attempt here on John Team down the outside. And he smoothly gets by. Very good overtake by Gabriel. He switches to the inside line after that. But I don't think John Team is going to take this line down. He wants that position back.
Yeah, it's a case as the same as with Martin Lucena and Brian Janik. They're very well paired, and an error of the slipstream might completely change everything. There goes Brian Janik, for example.
You guys, come on. Very, very close between Gabriel and...
Look at Janik, look at
John
Janik now on the brakes on Martin Lucena, and he manages the pass. There he goes. He's in front now.
All right, let's take a look at a replay of this. Sorry for the acceleration, folks, but I want to get to the exact spot. Here he goes inside on the second chicane. Yeah, it takes the line away. Very smooth, very well done. And they enter the stadium section with Brian in front again.
Tim is now trying to get back the position from Stir. Not going to work
Not
out this
gonna
time.
happen
No,
there.
but Gabriel Stir slides out. And Tim gets the position back.
Let's take a look at a replay of this. Yeah, Star runs wide into the grass, is lucky to save it.
Oh,
And
and
Team-
Alberto is now side by side with Juha Boss going into the stadium.
See, this is why you need a color commentator to find the stuff, and Alberto is through. Beautiful overtake, textbook on the inside. Juha is going back on the inside, trying to take it, and Al goes, "No, you do not." That is my 9th place. Fantastic racing here with Little Al and Juha Boss. Through the stadium section, exiting now. And Alberto Aquino is now in 9th place. Juha in 10th. So Juha's now going to be trying to get in his slipstream and see if he can catch him. Lucina is 4th, Janik 3rd, 2nd Grant Radal all alone, and way out in front from Brazil, Thiago Canola. He's not going to be able to win the championship, but another win in these cars will soften that blow just a little bit, I think. He's on lap 18 right now. When he crosses the line, he'll be starting the 19th lap, so we have 19, 20, 21, and 22 to go.
And Juha got his position back. Very skillful maneuver into the Ostkurve.
Oh, yes, he just slipped by again, but Al is right with him still. Great slipstreaming battle between these two. Al popping out, looking for the inside line, but I think it's a case of he might have popped out of the slipstream a bit early. But he's still right with Juha, and we know that Juha's car is not has been trying to bite him the entire race. So don't count Little Al out of this one yet. There he is doing it. He's just having a little look. It could be, from his point of view, Alberto, that he's looking for the line to enter the corner. Because the problem with these cars is they're solid. They're not open wheelers, and it's harder to see the groove when it starts. You think that might be something that he's doing?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, he's not really. Well, he doesn't have that many hours behind the wheel, especially in racing conditions. So he's not used to have another car blocking him the view.
Yeah, it is.
So as you say, with a car that has a roof and where you don't have a clear view, then it's obvious that he is looking for the references.
Yeah, and this is obviously different than like a tin top touring car, because you don't have the luxury really of looking through a back window as much here. Yeah, here's the view from inside the car, and you can see how much that car really blocks your view.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as low as an open wheeler.
Open
wheelers are really wide, but they are not so tall.
On the other hand, Little Al does have the benefit of those high-placed yellow marker signs. I mean, that's really what you should be using for your... they're not going to get knocked down by somebody because they're hung up really high, so... I mean, that you would think that that's the marker point that he would use. Coming into the Ost curve now. Yeah, don't count Little Al out of this one yet. I mean, at worst case scenario, he's got a 10th place and 1 point in this series, which is a great achievement considering the talent that he's up against and his own lack of experience so far. But like you say, he's learning all the time. Into the second chicane. Gabriel Stur is right up with John Team again. heading into the stadium, so maybe he'll get another shot in him before this race is over.
Yeah, it's certainly too close to be comfortable for John Team.
You know, he's way closer than Little Al is to Yuha at this point, coming into the first turn.
John's looking many times the wheel, so that indicates that he has several flat spots there.
Oh, he's got the measure on John now. He's got some slipstream. He pops out to the left. This is going to be an interesting overtake if he can get it done. And he gets it done. He gets the overlap into the corner. Gabriel Stir up to 4th place. John goes down to 5th. So the question now is, can he solidify that? Oh, but John Team is right with him. It looks like
Right Riddle just jumped one of the chicanes.
Uh-oh.
Another car that is getting flat spots and problems with the tires. Team now having the run on Gabriel Stir, but that's not going to suffice.
Yeah, but he's right with him still. I mean, this battle's far from over. Exiting the Ost curve, they're both really fast. Right with him, but he's got a little bit of a roll. We'll see if he can, he's going to pop out here. He's on the wrong line entering the corner, but he's going to have the right line exiting if he can shut off later. Oh, look at that, on the outside! But can he make it stick going through? It's tight, but he got it done. But here comes Gabriel on the outside, heading for the stadium. My goodness. He tried on the outside there, but just couldn't get it done. Now they're heading into the stadium proper. This series has produced fantastic racing for everybody. It's been a lot of fun. Oh, look at how much John's tires are locking up now at this point. Gabriel's right with him now. Into the first turn. And they both get a pretty good exit, so it's going to be down to the slipstream again. We are on the next to last lap. Oh, here comes Gabriel, popping out again. Looking for John. He goes up to 4th place.
And this is so uncomfortable because it's not just heavy braking, it's doing it in a slight turn. So you're not with a straight car and all the times you're fighting it when you're braking. So it's very meritorious there from Gabriel Stir.
Here comes John back.
Yeah, John's coming back to the Ost curve. Let's see if he can get it done. No. Shuts off early.
I think Lacina ahead has been on the grass on the exit there.
And with all these fuse, we missed that Grant Riddle has not finished the race. He's out.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, it's Thiago Canola first, Brian Janik is second.
What? What happened?
He was just looking at the top and he was not there.
What? That's insane.
Died quite a few laps ago, I think. Died a couple of laps ago.
My
I'll have
goodness.
a quick look, see if I can find
Maybe
out
so,
what
but there
happened.
was so much action on the track that we really missed it.
Well, it was either a disco or maybe he had an incident of some kind, but I mean, it's hard to believe he had an incident because he was all alone. He wasn't anywhere near anybody. Oh, Little Al's right with Yuha again.
Yeah, he's been for some time already. He is now 9th position. Yuha is 8th. And we'll see.
Right.
Whoop!
We are on the final lap of the race now. Thiago is leading Brian Janik by 28 seconds. So it's going to be a BNS Fabrications 1-2, it appears, with Martin Lacina 3rd. If they can make it there, it looks like Janik's free and clear of Martin at this point. Gabriel is 4th. John Team is 5th, and John's lost a lot of ground now to Gabriel. 6th Ray Riddall. 7th is Miller. 8th, Juha. 9th, Alberto. Well, yeah, everybody moves up one position. And Vidra's 10th.
And Timo Vermeers is there in 11th. He started last because he was not able to qualify. He arrived late to the race. But there he is. He's always very steady and on the verge of scoring points. One more abandoning, and he's there in the points.
All right, so Tiago moves into the stadium section for the last time. Grant Riddall
Can't be tied with a blown engine.
He had a blown engine. Well, there you go. It's the tape. He must have taped the engine too much.
Exactly. One of the keys of the race. He must have been using too much grill tape.
And out of the last corner, here comes Tiago Canola, and he's going to win round 8. Race over. Tiago wins the Hockenheim round. Brian Janik is in the stadium right now, and he's got Lucina close to him, but not close enough to challenge him. So, providing that Janik can navigate these last two corners, he's going to have his best HSO finish of 2nd place and a B&S Fabrications 1-2. And there it is. Lucina will finish in 3rd. Here comes Gabriel Stura. Fantastic drive from Gabriel. He got a lot of good TV time, lots of good overtakes. Gabriel finishes 4th, and of course he's German, so this is a home race for him. He'll be pleased with that. John Thiem finishes 5th after an eventful race. Grant Riddall is going to finish in 6th. Nice result for him.
Ray Riddall, you mean?
Or Ray Riddall. Sorry, I'm so used to saying Grant Riddall. David Miller is going to finish in 7th. So another points finish for Mrs. Dave's man, and he's coming by the wall there to salute his crew. Juha Boss looks like he's going to finish in 8th place. And Alberto Aquino, Little Al, finishes in 9th place. 10th place, still to get to the line, is Lucas Vidra. Another points-paying finish for Lucas, but fantastic drive, too, by Little Al to get 9th place. That's 2 points in the championship. I'm sure he's going to be really happy.
Yeah, he's going to be delighted because his main objective was to score here, not to crash the car, not to cause any harm to anybody.
Well, he did exactly that, and he raced very clean and very fair with Juha the whole way. Timo is coming up. Unfortunately, he's just 1 place out of the points. But this is probably his best finish so far in this series. 12th is Bruno Chacon. 13th, Mick Chapman. 14th, Michael Griffiths. 40th, Grant Riddall, DNF. Or, I'm sorry, I meant 15th place. Number 40 is Grant Riddall. 16th, Gerard Rion. 17th and crossing the line now is David Yunt. Probably glad this race is over. David Saber, 18th. Jonathan, 19th.
And some
Parker,
donuts
20th.
there by Tiago Canola.
David Jakes in 21st, and Remen last in 22nd position. So that was round 8, the Hockenheim round. Pretty eventful round, considering that the championship is decided, and there wasn't going in, there might not have on paper been a lot to be excited about, but it was a lot of fun, actually, I thought. What do you guys think?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, nobody would have expected that Grant was going to, first of all, spin on his own, and second, then have his engine blown. So there were many interesting fights there for position that actually were rewarded with some extra places, thanks to people abandoning in the front.
All right, well, real quickly, we want to remind everybody that a big week is coming up next week at HSO. We have the Indianapolis 500 time trials broadcasting live on our YouTube channel. We're really looking forward to that. 37 entries, you said, Alberto.
I think so.
For
There's
33
some people
spots.
to confirm, but they have permanent rights.
And you know what
and
that
I believe
means?
that 4 people are going to be bumped out of the field.
Bumpage. Yes.
And we're going to update the track and open the server again right now after this race. So everybody can head there and have their laps at the mythical Indianapolis Speedway and see how fast you can get.
Well, I gotta do some work on my race setup. I've got the quali setup ready to go, but I really could use a little bit more help on the race setup. Because when you put all that fuel in there, the car definitely handles, let's say, differently. Thank you, Jonathan, also for broadcasting from the car. We appreciate your point of view, and Alberto, always good to work with you. Excellent keys to the race and expert advice. We apologize to those of you watching for the slight cut in the audio, but thank you for pointing it out so we could correct it in short order. Any closing thoughts from any of you before we move on to, or before we close out the broadcast?
I think it's everything said so far. So quite an exciting race, and good proof of it is how we missed, for example, Grant's retirement.
Yes, BNS Fabrications 1-2 was not a BS fabrication. Look at me, Walt Whitman over here. All right. So that was round 8, and we will see you guys next Sunday for time trials. It's going to be a big, as Ed Sullivan would say, it's going to be a really big shoe. Everybody, be sure to join us for that. And then the 500 the following week. This is Jason White for Alberto and Jonathan. So long from Hockenheim.